I'm going to take the concept of a lemon meringue tart and change it slightly, cheat a little to make a mango and lime tart. This is so delicious, and it's something I learnt to make in New Caledonia. So lots of tropical flavours with some mango and some lime. And the best thing about it is you don't really need to make a proper curd, so it takes the steps out of it. So I've started with a short bread crust. So this is very, very short, and I like it because I like it to be really crumbly and biscuity. If you didn't want to do this and make this into an even faster recipe, you could just use some store-bought short crust pastry. I'll allow you to do that for this. So before we get onto the curd, let's get onto the meringue, because you can't have this without that crispy meringue on the top. Into a food processor with a whisk attachment, or you can just use a stand mixer. We're going to add our egg whites, so pour that in, and a good pinch of salt. Now, we don't want to add our sugar yet. We want to rein that in when it starts to get foamy. If you add it too fast, we're not going to get those stiff peaks that we want. So we'll start this up and we'll give it a couple of minutes before we start adding our sugar. Now, for the curd, this is a cheats curd, and this is why I love this recipe so much. The yolks can go into a bowl, so there's 4 eggs in total. And this is the cheat in the curd. So I'm going to be using some condensed milk. It's sweet and it's stable. So we don't need to be whisking this over a bain-marie like the traditional one. So in with our eggs, scrape down the sides. So it's just a few ingredients. And we're going to whisk or mix this together. Essentially, we're just incorporating those egg yolks so we've got a smooth, consistent batter. Okay, to give this a little zing, some lime. So the juice and zest of 1 lime. So I like to start with the zest and really get all that zest off. There's so much flavour in the zest. Fantastic. Cut that in half and we'll juice that. And I always like to just grab a spoon and just squeeze out as much of the juice as possible. And the second one, very juicy. Now for the mango. So I'm going to be using some frozen mango. I've defrosted the mango. So I'm going to use about 1 cup of this chopped mango and we'll pop it in. I want a big hit of mango for this. So we'll just use a slotted spoon to drain that in. Okay, we'll fold everything together. And that right there is the most delicious filling. So I'm going to pour this into our par-cooked base, and that is the perfect amount. It's looking good. Okay, now for the meringue. It's foamy, so we can start reining in the sugar. Don't add all the sugar at once, so as the motor still goes, we'll add a tablespoon at a time until we get stiff peaks. All right, we've got beautiful meringue. Have a look at that. And you know it's ready when it just sits up just like that. So all we need to do now is just dollop this beautiful meringue over the top of this curd. And you want to do it really gently because it is quite full. So just do about a tablespoon or so at a time, all the way around it, and then use your palette knife just to sort of poke it a little bit so we get little peaks, and that's going to ensure we get a crispy result. So this then goes into the oven. We want to cook it at about 160 degrees fan forced, and it's going to cook for 25 to 30 minutes. What we're looking for is a golden crisp top. Okay, the mango and meringue tart has come out of the oven. I'm very impressed with how this has worked. It's slightly crispy, it's a perfect golden colour. Now do let it cool at least 20 minutes, or it can just sit there until your guests arrive. I mean, you could cook this in the morning and it'll still be lovely and crispy by the evening. So let's demould this. And this is why you use a tart tin that has a detachable base, because it just comes off so easily. And it is short, so we're going to be very careful when we place it onto our cake stand. Oh, look at that. It is so pretty. It almost looks like it's been made professionally. So we've got to cut into this. I want you to see how perfect that curd has set. You want to use a really sharp knife. Oh, can you hear that? Crispy. All the way through the base. And a generous portion of this, I feel. Oh, look at that. Still a little bit syrupy from that mango. Onto the plate. And I must have a taste of this. I'm gonna start straight through that center. That is an awesome tart. It has everything you want. You've got that beautiful sweet mango, that hint of lime, and the meringue. Well, the meringue is, I find, the best part because it's crispy on the top and cloud-like in the center. It's very good.